And then, okay, we're good to go.
All right.
All right, first
Yeah.
question.
What motivated you to return to school?
For me, I know I actually just completed my ADN this past November, and I was really interested at the time. I'm using my GI Bill, being former military. I wanted to go ahead and just knock out my BSN at the same time. I knew it was a goal of mine, and so I figured, hey, if they're going to pay me to do it, I may as well go
Yes.
ahead and sign right up.
Right. Well, that was smart. So I'll just answer the question also.
Okay, works great.
I met some ECPI students at a practice site, and I asked them what it was like and how they were doing. And then very shortly after that, I saw a sign for a discount with my employer. So those were signs for me that this was the time. So I went ahead and signed up because I wanted to have my BSN for more than 30 years, but fear prevented me because statistics was required. And I managed to get a B. So persistence, perseverance, and dedication, and also asking for help earned me a B in that class. So I could make it, if I can make it through stats, I can make it through anything.
Yeah,
So
I know.
yeah.
I was talking to my wife about statistics too, and that was one of those classes. I normally do pretty well in online programs and really not that much. Like, I actually like math too, but I don't know if it was just because that was a class I really felt like I had to be in seat to learn that one almost. Like, I needed help using the program as well as sometimes going back and forth from the textbook to the program. That was a little difficult for me too. So I think statistics is rough on most people.
Yes, I've never heard a single nurse say, wow, you know what, I really love statistics. So the next question is, what do you expect to learn in the program?
I know for me, I was saying again, being a new nurse, again, everything's pretty much new to me. I was trying to expand my base of knowledge, essentially. Like EHR, I had limited experience, obviously in the clinical setting. When we had through school, we get to use it a little bit. We do stuff like that. But learning about kind of the history behind it, even some of the classes I'm taking now, there was a lot that I didn't obviously kind of go on behind the scenes that until you've done your research, or if you worked with it, I guess, for longer periods of time, you don't know all the little ins and outs of it.
Yeah. And it can be a little bit complicated, but since I've been working in nursing since prior to HIPAA was even introduced, you know, you just kind of pick it up as you go along. And so what I expect to learn from this program is organizational, time management, research, and teaching skills are all things that I think I'd like to be able to improve upon from this class.
It's a pretty good list, yeah.
I'm extremely anxious because we've spent so much time trying to figure out how to make at least one electronic gadget work in order to get it done. So
hopefully it's smooth sailing from here.
Yes, let's hope so. So what are your career plans after you earn your BSN?
I know one thing I've talked, I come from a family of nurses. I have 8 nurses in my immediate family, and kind of everyone's taken different paths. So I was able to kind of pick everyone's brain about, you know, if they could do it over again, how would they do it? And I think practitioner is something long-term goal that I'm interested in. I just know for the time being, it's like being a new nurse, getting set up in my field. I'm med surg. I want to get med surg certified, knock out my BSN, and kind of, okay, once I can catch my breath a little bit, where do I see myself then? So
yeah,
short term, just this BSN and then getting certified in my field is my goals for the time being.
well, those are still pretty good goals though, because you know, getting certified in med surg is not necessarily something that people think of like right away. That's sort of something that comes down the road a bit. And you know, my son went into nursing too, but it works as a nurse anesthetist.
That's awesome.
As does his wife. So I always think that, oh, well, at least I have a nurse in my family that's a smart nurse, and that would be him.
Oh, congratulations for him.
Yes, and he actually has been an adjunct professor at VCU here in Richmond. So
Okay.
he was in the Navy, and so the Navy paid for him to go to school. So
I'm former Navy as well. No, and actually, nurse anesthetist was one thing I looked at the time I moved back home to Texas. I have two young kids, and I want to be close to my family. It was just some of the schools, and then as well as the hours. It wasn't something being former military. Um, it wasn't really going to work. Is why I was looking more like a family nurse practitioner now. Was something I'm like, you know what? Maybe that's kind of wasn't my first initial goal, but like, it's kind of life changes. You got to change your goals sometimes a little bit.
yeah, you do indeed. Yes, but the light's at the end of the tunnel. So let's see. Oh, wait a second. So your career plans after, did I ask you that question already?
Yeah, we should be on the question number 4 now.
Oh, well, I don't think I said what my plans are. Although retirement is like so close now, I ultimately would like to work for the Department of Children and Families that have child abuse issues, and I'd like to be an investigator, and you have to have a bachelor's degree in order to do that. So that ultimately would be the goal, so that I can work part-time once I've reached that retirement age, which is really, really close.
That's a noble goal, definitely. I mean, that's definitely a program I'm sure that as much help as those kids can get kind of thing that they would appreciate.
And we have, because I live in Richmond City, there are lots of issues here in Richmond. So, so do you have prior experience with Zoom video conferencing tools? So I'll just answer that. Now that you know, I do not have any experience with Zoom, but between the two of us, with your knowledge of trying to figure all of this out, we have reached the ultimate goal, at least for me anyway.
Yeah, I know. I was like, my first one I recorded too. The second time it seemed so simple, but the first time, yeah, I know I was on there like 30 minutes before trying to figure out how do I set up the meeting? How do I go through this? And it was, I had to Google things like, okay, when I'm using Zoom, how do I set things up?
Yeah. And, now that I have it on my iPad, it'll just be that much easier, I think, although I won't be able to record anything. But I'm going to take my own personal computer to work tomorrow and see how my camera got disabled on it, because I've tried everything to make it work, and I don't know what the problem is. And I'm not going to spend any time on my husband's computer installing Zoom or trying to figure that out, because I just don't have the time. But anyway.
Well, I'm glad it worked for you, and hey, now I know I can use my iPad for it. I didn't realize the iPad might work, so I guess I learned a new tool too.
Yeah, great. Well, look, Jacob, I am so grateful to you for your help. I really appreciate it. And
it's no problem.
And what team are you rooting for?
For the Super Bowl, I'm actually, since my team's not playing in it, I was like, you know what? For record's sake, it'd be interesting if the Patriots won.
Interesting, yes. Right. We're Giant fans here because my husband is from New York, so I know nothing about football, but I'm a Giant fan too.
It's funny, my wife's a Giants fan, and so we were joking. I'm a Cowboys fan in this house, so being from Texas, so it's a little bit competitive sometimes.
I can only imagine, yeah. Mostly, this is Redskin country, so most everyone here is a Redskin fan, except in our house.
Yep, my mother grew up in Virginia. She's Redskins. My father's from Texas. I grew up more of a Cowboys fan, so we have a Giants, a Redskins, and a Cowboys fans all in the same house.
Wow, so that makes for an interesting household.
Yeah, never short for conversations, at least.
Right. Okay. Well, I'll let you go. As I said earlier, thank you so much for your help, and I really appreciate you reaching out. Thank you.
No problem. I'm just glad, we're able to get it done and help you out now. And as far as this is done too, I'm actually going to stop the recording.